Alright, what's up everyone? It was brought to my attention that there was a 24-minute video made about the TFT drama that's going on right now, and at the center is my video that I made about water park tactics. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a watch over it, give you my thoughts, give you my reactions, and yeah, feed into the infinite content loop. Let's get right into it.
Yo, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be breaking down the new TFT Twitter drama that is going on.
JLin, if you don't know, is a Canadian TFT player. I met him at the Toronto versus Tri-State LAN event, which we won conveniently. I didn't know he was a drama fiend, but apparently he is. So yeah, let's take a look at what he's got here.
On between Broseph from the lab and Water Park Tactics, a Twitter social media sort of TFT producing content creator. So let's get into it. Let's break it down here. Just to preface this, I know both of these guys. I've met both of these people.
He's met both.
In real life. I
didn't realize he's met
and I've met
Water
the person
Park
behind Water Park Tactics Mocha in real life, and both of them are very cool, very chill people. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's break it down.
Just to be clear, I have nothing personally against like the person behind water parks. Like, I just think that some of the time his guides have inaccuracies that meaningfully affect how useful they are. So like when you quote stats that say that Teemo 3 is very good and you don't need Kobuko Hero to play it, I think that is probably not great information to tell people to play. If you're like silver or gold, it probably works okay, but I think that it's meaningful to call out where there can be improvements in stats filtering, which I'll probably make a video on sometime in the future. And when you're out on Twitter saying that Umbral Spat sucks because you are misinterpreting stats and misfiltering, that's also probably bad. So like those are the things that I have concerns with. I don't think there's anything morally abhorrent about water park tactics. I just think that there are certain parts that probably should be pointed out. And when there are some illogical patch predictions that don't make sense, I think it's reasonable to cover them and explain why I don't think they make sense. And if any part of that's not clear, I'm going to try to explain in more detail why they don't make sense. So I'll try to do that here especially too.
Who is Broseph? He's a high-level challenger North American player. His most notable achievements have been this set in set 11, the first player to reach challenger, and he was rank 1 for a little bit. He also, I believe he placed second at the Disguised Toast qualifier, narrowly losing out to Milk. He's been playing TFT since set 3.5, so one of the OGs. Now, who is Water Park Tactics? The person behind Water Park Tactics is called Mocha.
He used to have challenger TFT guides here. I don't think he includes that anymore. I just want to point that out.
Very chill dude. He posts a lot of content on Twitter for free, absolutely free. He also runs a Discord where he posts a lot of his guides and helps people out with any questions that they have, and also does free coaching sessions. So make sure to check out that Discord. A lot of good
information. Like, as much as I want to like point out where there's stuff bad, where there's stuff that's bad, a lot of information is pretty good. Like, there's some stuff that he posts that I find pretty useful. So like, there are some bugs that I don't know about, or some other things that are posted to his Twitter sometimes that I see primarily there, and I think they're reasonably helpful. I think some of the stuff is stuff that like is useful to have. So maybe I've seen stuff before, like the Warden Teemo. I've been playing that since PBE because it's pretty natural to just play Alawi because Alawi is really good on the Teemo board and just carry Teemo whenever Teemo is strong. But yeah, putting that out there, like that information's fairly useful for people that otherwise wouldn't have another avenue to see that stuff.
Valuable information there. But yeah, let's jump into the drama now. So everything started with Water Park Tactics.
Okay, this is not really where everything started. Like, okay, I'll show you where our first interactions actually happened right here. All right, so like there's some background that is not covered, so I'll just give this give this some context that otherwise you wouldn't be able to see. So there's some Teemo stuff. Where is this? I'll pull this up. I might have to look up stuff specifically on Alun. Yeah, I'll just look it up. I don't know if he took it down. If he took it down, Umbral Spat is fake. Lower is average. Okay, yeah, this is where it all started. And then there's like the guide stuff. Most other stuff is pretty reasonable. This stuff is like pretty reasonable stuff in terms of what he's telling you to build in terms of items and board when you're supposed to roll. All makes sense. Now, where is my comment? There's some comments here. Maybe I have to go to my own posts. Let's go to my own post. Otherwise, it might be hard to see it. Okay, did he delete the post? That's from a long time ago. This is the stuff. Okay, this is the Kobuko stuff, which I guess I'll show first. So like there was the post that was within a post that was within a post. Basically, you don't need Lucky Paws to play this. If you go into the comments, you'll see something that I type, or maybe it's not typed here. Is it here? Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, just because. No wait, that's a meme. Yeah, here. All right, this is what he filtered. Diamond Plus, average 3.8. Any level Teemo, don't dip below 4.5. And then this is the stats he shows. Let's take a look at this. And this is like a basic introduction to why you need to understand how to fill stats. First things first, as much as you want to filter by Teemo 3, you can't filter by Teemo 3. Like, you have to first reroll for Kobuko 3. You have to not miss Kobuko 3. And then you have to roll for Teemo 3. And then you need to get Teemo 3. And then you also have to have 6 completed items, which you usually don't get until 5-1. What this essentially does, this is like some basic stat filtering stuff, is excludes all the people who low rolled. There'll be some people who never hit Kobuko 3. They got contested by another Kobuko player, or there's just 8 out for some reason, and they never hit Kobuko 3, then they die. They go 8th or they go 7th, probably almost always 8th. These people are almost all excluded in this data because he's restricted it to Kobuko 3, which anyone who goes 8th might not have. Secondly, it's filtered by Teemo 3, who also and has 3 items as well. So, anyone who has Teemo 3 probably isn't going 8th because they live long enough to get both Kobuko 3 first and then Teemo 3, which means they had probably enough money and enough HP to be able to acquire that before they died. Because if you end up hitting Teemo late, you usually also die with Kobuko because Kobuko 3 isn't particularly strong by itself, especially without the hero augment. So just by doing this, you exclude like tons of the low rollers. Like, you should see 6th, 7th, 8th way, way higher because of this. And that's what the issue with filtering like this is. And I pointed out, I think, an example that if you filter by a 2-star and a 3-star, like Kindred and Yasuo, I was on my phone, which is why it looks like this. If you filter by Kindred and Yasuo 3, it averages a 3.9. It averages pretty good. This is without any item filters. Like, if you just hit Yasuo 3 and Kindred 3, you average 3.9. And that's because if you hit a 3-star 1 cost and a 3-star 2 cost, you almost always have lived long enough to be able to see the light of day and outplace a few people. And then this is what it looks like if you just filter by a 3-star 1 cost and just a 2 cost that you're carrying. I think these do include item filters or some minimal level item filters for Kindred here. But yeah, you will see that it averages much worse, which is why you can't just say that I filtered like this, the comp looks good, it averages a 4.1. 4.1 for this level of scrutiny on the filters is actually quite bad. And then, yeah, no response after. I think there was maybe some reply. Maybe, I guess it was deleted or something like that. I think there was an additional thread. I think there was an additional thread about item filters that I think was later deleted. I think is deleted off this post. And I'm not sure if my post was there anyways. But like, yeah, I'll explain what I basically pointed out on the Alun stuff. So yeah, we'll take a look at what he's filtered by. Though I think he might have started deleting some of the stat analysis that he showed. So basically, yeah, it looks like he deleted it. So there's just stat analysis here. Oh, this is interesting. So the stat analysis isn't there. He used to have stat analysis proving why he was right. He no longer has stat analysis here. But what he used to say is he used to like show the stats for why it makes it mediocre without considering the fact that his specific set of filters basically made it so that it looked bad. And I think I can try to replicate it here very briefly. So if we try to replicate it, let's say you have a loon, and this is how he literally filters it. He filters it something like this. This is him, not me. So he has like 6 Umbral or something, maybe 3+, but I think he was just doing 6 Umbral. 6 Umbral, a Loon 3, like I think he probably filtered by Silas 2, and yeah, he probably filtered by Silas 2 or something. Yeah, and he probably had something like this, right? So if you have these games, this is on this patch, but I don't think it's that different. Like, look, the Umbral Crest doesn't look that good. That's crazy. It's crazy that the Umbral Crest and the Umbral Crown don't look that good. Now, here's the thing. Let me show you what actually happens if you begin changing some of the things that you see in terms of the filters. First of all, I think it's unacceptable to specify that you're both playing for Alune 3 and Silas 2. What you should probably do is restrict this to any, restrict this to any, have this be 3+ in the cases of Umbral being possible to see. And then the crucial thing you need to do at this point is you need to include the fact that you are either level 8 or level 9. Like, you need to specify it by level, and you need to also, this is the part where it's tricky, right? You need to consider the fact that if you've hit 6 Umbral, that means you have a set if you don't have an Umbral Crest. So what you're saying is, either you could have an Umbral Crest and have a portion of the data not include having a set, and hitting a set, and having a set significantly skews your average placement upwards, or you could lower this to 4+ Umbral, which is what you're supposed to do, because if you're just going on 2-1 or like 3-2, playing Umbral, you don't know exactly what you have. You don't know if you're going to be able to hit 6 Umbral or not, or unless you have the Spat. So once you filter down to 4+ Umbral, what you'll notice is the Umbral Quest actually looks pretty good, right? And there's not actually that many good augments for this comp. So Umbral Quest on 3-2, 3.82, quite good. That's minus 0.25 delta or something, right? It's actually, yeah, minus 0.25 delta, and it's even better on 4-2. So you need to consider the fact that some people will just be playing Umbral and not be hitting set, which dooms them, right? Which is why you probably want to take the Umbral Spat on 3-2 or 4-2 if you see it. And if we just filter it by gold augments real quick, right? If we filter by gold augments, you'll see that there are not very many good augments for this comp. There's Midnight Siphon, Wrath of the Moon, Raid Bot, and we should actually probably exclude Midnight Siphon here, because this is not the comp that he's talking about, right? So if we exclude both of these, then I'm pretty sure the Spat becomes better. Yeah, it becomes better. The average placement goes down. It becomes then the third best augment in the comp after the literal trait comp, the trait augment, and Sleight of Hand, which is a very good augment just generally overall, right? So like, this is the kind of filtering mistake that was being made here that made him believe that it is fake, and it, rather than accept the L and realize that he made a filtering mistake, he doubled down on the fact that no, it's in fact bad. You should not build Umbral Spat when you were using the wrong filters, buddy. That's the kind of thing that I think should be pointed out here. But yeah, rest of the guide, I'll say it up front, rest of the guide's pretty good. This is fairly good information for what existed at the time, though I'm not sure if this is before the Titans nerf. If it was after the Titans nerf, this shouldn't be Titans. But a lot of the information, generally useful. It was a comp that's out there that it would be useful for people to have a general guide on how to play. All right, let's keep going. So that's the context for what actually happened before this, and then let's go here.
Twitter, next patch predictions, 14.11, new, good. Kha'Zix reroll going to be A tier, 80 lines get a nice buff.
Kha'Zix reroll got worse than the last patch of this patch. You can check it. Like, it was previously only viable with divine rolls. It seems now to still only be viable with divine rolls. None of that has changed.
6 Arcanist will be A+ tier, and Gnar will be playable in more spots. So let's take a look.
He was right about Gnar. He was actually right about Gnar. Gnar got a bump up that was larger than larger than
what Broseph had
I would have expected.
Normally,
but
I don't
thought
do
that
things that will get me into any kind of drama, but...
So Broseph says he normally doesn't do anything that will get him into a drama. And, you know, anytime anybody who says that, usually they're the type of person that likes to create drama.
That's crazy. That's crazy, JLin. That's crazy. All right, let's keep going.
And hey, you know, I'm not hating. By me doing this video, I'm instigating the drama. I'm adding fuel to the fire. So I'm not saying what he's doing is bad. I'm just saying, you know, that it's probably not true.
I just couldn't stop today. So I saw this meta prediction post by Waterpark Tactics yesterday. If you don't know who Waterpark Tactics is,
so does me watch my own video? Does he say
they
So we do have to make that clear distinction here. if you're a challenger player watching this video, if you're a challenger player following this Twitter account, the information is not necessarily directed towards you. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. You can't just be like, okay, this is completely wrong at the higher level. It might be correct or not correct, but it might be valuable advice for lower elo players.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I think it makes sense that this is targeted towards the majority of players who are lower elo. I think I think this would be misleading. Like the sentiment of this point is, I think, misleading. So, I mean, it's a prediction. So, like, if he came out and today said, I was wrong about Kha'Zix, I was wrong about 6 Arcana Syndra, he was kind of right about the AD lines. The Kayn got better. Kai'Sa didn't get buffed as much as I thought, as much as people thought she would have been. But yeah, like, you don't want people to think that this is still the case, right? Like, you would want people to know that Kha'Zix reroll is not actually that good, and 6 Arc Syndra is also not that good.
If you try to play Kha'Zix reroll, you will not place reroll on average. And the reason why is because Kha'Zix falls off way too hard later into the game, and the buff that they gave him, which is like, I guess it's in the small buff section. His AD ratio goes up 10% from 340 to 350 at 3-star, which is not enough to make him not lose in the late game at all. You'll still bleed out into a third. Basically, the takeaway that you should have from this is that pretty much nothing changes. You might gain 1 placement on average from like 1 extra third out of 10 games that go well for Kha'Zix. But if you sit there and you press the D key rolling for Kha'Zix on level 4, you're fucked pretty much. Like, you are not going to do well in your game. So this is not. You have to naturally Kha'Zix, and then still you're probably going third. But like, it's an okay third.
All right. So what do I think about Kha'Zix reroll? I think Kha'Zix reroll is fine. Like, if you can get it naturally, yeah. Like Broseph said, it's going to be a very good spot to play. Also, with Heavenly Rolls, if you can get that Kha'Zix 3...
Yeah, like, the issue is placing it among the A and B tier comps. Like, I actually don't think it's, like, B plus A minus tier, only specifically if you have Divine Rolls, or literally hit Kha'Zix 3 naturally. I don't know what this spot is. That's the point he's making, but that's a fair point there.
Stage 3, it's definitely a very viable line that you can take to go towards Fast 9 and then pivoting your board into Legendaries. So I wouldn't say that
I think usually you can't do that. I think usually you don't get to pivot your board to Legendaries. I think it's still too poor and too weak. But sometimes you can, if you're rich enough.
Buff necessarily is anything
I think usually you have to keep the items on the Kha'Zix and then just carry Wukong 2 later, but that's a small digression.
Sort of like dramatic in terms of like the play rate of the composition going up, but I wouldn't say that Kha'Zix reroll is bad either. I wouldn't say it's like unplayable.
AD lines get a nice buff with Kayn, Kai'Sa, and Ghosty getting buffed. So, sure, I think I wouldn't call it a nice buff. I might be a little bit nitpicky here, but I wouldn't really call any of these
4.35 for 3-star 3 item.
So for Kai'Sa, they upped the trick shot damage from
4.2. It was
4 trick shot,
it was
60%.
much better on their
that's
previous
the
patch
damage
compared to
probably
this
helps
patch.
The other
Let's
ones
just
are, like, not
I'll leave it there.
The
I'll
damage
leave it there.
or not the damage, the health for
I'll
Kayn
leave it
helps a
there.
little bit. So Kayn gets 50 HP, which is something. He dies a tiny bit less often. But Ghostly getting buffs, making AD lines better, I don't think 8 Ghostly was a super common line, and this certainly doesn't help anything except 8 Ghostly. Like, all it does is help 8 Ghostly go from 32% damage amp per shadow up to 36. And the Ghostly line was, like, very niche in a lot of cases, so yeah, these Ghostly buffs don't really help the line at all. It helps a bit when you get 8, but, like, almost no games go to 8 Ghostly. Yeah, like, the only part of this that becomes slightly more playable is Kai'Sa and, like, a tiny bit Kayn. I wouldn't really call it, like, nice buffs, though.
Okay, so Water Park Tactics here just saying, okay, Kayn, Kai'Sa, and Ghosty got buffs. And he added in a nice adjective right before the buff word. So
he's
I think
analyzing
the
the
word
adjective.
that Broseph has a problem with is that it's not a nice buff in the eyes of like a high-level challenger player. It's more like a very, very minor buff that really just doesn't have any...
And my point is that the buff basically doesn't do anything. Pretty much. Like, it is essentially a useless buff. And I'm pretty sure, like, if we do, like, let's say you're playing, like, let's say you're actually playing a Ghostly line, yeah? Like, you have 6+ Ghostly. From previous patch to this patch, it got better, actually. It got better. This is actually meaningfully better if you're playing 6+ Ghostly. If we exclude 8 Ghostly then, let's see how that looks. You have 6 Ghostly. Yeah, it also got better, actually. So, no, it's a fair... I actually don't know how. This is definitely not for, like, patch notes reasons. But it got slightly better.
Impact on the game, except for the Kai'Sa buff. As well as, I mean, like, if you can get to an 8 Ghostly spot, then obviously you're going to feel the buffs. But it's very tough to get to that spot. You need at least 2 Spats, right? I think, yeah, 2 Spats.
Kai'Sa
right?
might be worse.
So
Not this
it's
patch.
very, very niche buffs. So I think, like, overall, like, in terms of, like, if you are an AD player, you're leaning towards AD.
Let's say you have 3 Kai'Sa, yeah.
This buff isn't going to matter in, like, 99% of your games. Pretty much is what Broseph is saying.
Got a tiny bit better.
But, Water Park Taxes is just saying, it's just providing information out to players. It's just like, these lines got buffed, right? So
these lines got buffed. Sure, yeah, the lines got buffed.
There might be an issue with the language from Broseph's side, but there's really not much to like. There's really not much in this point that really matters, right? It's like it's okay. Like it's just like a difference of words or like how you want to convey it, right? So it is what it is.
Oh, okay. This is the part that confuses me the most because unfortunately the patch notes make it a little bit confusing what this change actually does. 6 Arcanist will be A+ tier. I don't think so. If you look at like the actual A+ tier comp, so first of all, I don't know if Water Park Tactics is talking about like Zoe reroll 6 Arcanist or Syndra reroll 6 Arcanist. I think they're talking about Syndra, so like Syndra here. But yeah, their changes to Syndra don't really indicate this at all. He says that they're less reliant on perfect item Syndra. Let's look at the actual changes, shall we? So the change that Syndra gets is she loses 1 butterfly at the start of the fight, but gains some AP scaling in return, or like AP ratio in return. I don't see how this has this effect. It certainly doesn't make it A+ tier. Like 6 Arcanist was not A+ tier before. Like 6 Arcanist Syndra was actually horrible if you didn't have either a Mumu or a Laui 3-star. It was very bad if you didn't have either of them 3-star. And he's saying they'll be as good as like the hero comps or like 6 Umbral Loon. I don't really think so. I don't think he'll be as good as that. Because if you look at his actual change, this is what.
Yeah, like the main point I was going for here is there would be no particular reason to believe that 6 Arcanist Syndra gets better, because this change is a buff for 2-star Syndra if the fight goes long, is where the buff actually is really meaningful, which is meaningful for 4 Dryad Syndra, which is, if anything, the reasonable comp to believe that gets meaningfully stronger from this buff, but probably not 6 Arcanist.
So at the start of the fight, this is a 14% damage nerf at both 1 and 2-star from the butterflies, and at 1-star it's like a 12% damage buff, and at 2-star it's like a 16% damage buff. So it's like a minor buff at the start of the fight, and then as this goes on, the nerf becomes smaller and smaller. So conservatively, if the fight goes a long time, at 2-star, Syndra does like 4 or 5% more damage over the course of the fight, but I really don't see how this is making 6 Arc any better, especially because 6 Arc, like this 6 Arc just confuses me. Like if you said Ornn, like Dryad Syndra became meaningfully better because of the change, I would believe you on that one. Like I would believe you on that one, because that comp actually has Frontline that lasts a while. The 6 Arc comp like dies really fast. So yeah, I would not play 6 Arc on launch day, or I would not expect it to be A+ tier at least. And then last thing is Gnar will be.
Okay, so
let's see what he has to say.
Broseph has a problem. This is his biggest gripe with this post, is that 6 Arcanist will now be A+ tier, although the changes to Syndra actually make her more scaling, whereas she's less bursty up front now. And the problem with 6 Arcanist is that the front line is lacking if you don't have a Mumu 3 and a Laui 3. Now, assuming you do have a Laui 3 or like an Mumu 3 or some sort of front line, this change is actually better for Syndra. But, you know, Broseph did mention that he did say that he's assuming that Water Park Tactics is talking.
If you're carrying Syndra 2, you're very rarely going to have a Mumu 3 or a Laui 3, especially considering the fact that they're more contested this patch because Ashe is fairly strong as well. So yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's fair for me to say.
So this might just once again be just a miscommunication between, you know, what Water Park Tactics is trying to make in terms of their points of like 6 Arcanist Zoe reroll is better.
What? 6 Arcanist, but there was no change for 6 Arcanist. What, like, there was no change for Zoe, and there was no change for 6 Arcanist. I think one thing that's happened actually on this patch is that Zoe has become stronger compared to everything else, because the other super strong stuff got nerfed. So I think Yasuo and Darius and some of the other early game stuff got nerfed. So Zoe is now better by comparison, especially when packaged in with the Storyweaver opener. But there's nothing in particular that would make Zoe reroll better at all. So it just doesn't make sense to say that this is the case.
Or, you know, maybe they are saying that Syndra is buffed now because of the buffs or because of the changes within her kit. What do I think? I think 6 Arcanist is garbage unless you get
okay.
Arcanist and you get Zoe 3 and a Mumu Laui 3. I would agree with that point, but you know, if you do get that setup, then it is very, very good. It's like S+ tier in my opinion.
Be playable more spots? Sure, yeah, Gnar goes from 40 stacks to 80 stacks, I have no problem with that. What else changes?
Yeah, I mean, he's right. The thing is, if you're playing every turn you're playing Laui 2, Zoe 2, Amumu 2, you basically get steamrolled on stage 4 pretty much. Anyone has a decent board. So like if you're playing for 3 costs and are sitting on this board for a long time, which you probably will, and you probably will have a pretty hard time hitting because people are holding both a Laui and a Mumu, then you're going to lose to anyone who is even rolling for usually 1-star Syndra plus 4 Dryad or 1-star Ashe plus decent frontline. You'll usually lose to those comps too, because you just don't have the pushing power to break through a lot of the front lines that people run.
But he does note that this is a tiny patch.
And you don't have enough frontline.
know this is a tiny patch, and one Cosmic Reroll might be stronger. Like, not really. I don't think you'll really see anyone playing Cosmic. You might see people playing Cosmic Reroll. I would be surprised if those people played Cosmic Reroll for long as they lost with it at the start of the patch. And then there's a kind of bold prediction about Yon being B tier in perfect spots. Yeah, I think that's about right. If your spot's perfect, it's B tier. I can believe that. Story Weaver, Snipers, Duelist, Lilia, also all the SA. Yeah, this is pretty much right. I don't know about Story Weaver so much. It was kind of specific, but like the other strong comps would be SMA for sure, combined with all the reroll comps, all the hero reroll comps.
Story Weavers ended up pretty good because it was already strong the last patch, and Story Weavers was actually pretty bad in a Duelist because half the time if you're on the wrong side, you lost. Like, you instantly lost the round if you weren't able to burst their release in right away. But it ended up better on this patch, so it was boldly right about that one. So I'll give him credit for that.
That's
okay. Now I don't know how there's like 10 more minutes.
Is really quite similar. I think they're aiming for quite small bumps. So yeah.
Oh, he covers some of the stuff later.
So figure out.
Okay, so to end off, Broseph ends up agreeing with Water Park Tactics on some.
Wait, he actually has so much stuff. Wait, he covers this in depth.
Compositions from the previous patch, Ashe, Lilia, still being very strong in the next patch. So, you know, all in all, a couple of disagreements at the start.
There's nothing super bold about the
end.
The end claims other than
Broseph and Water Park Tactics on what they had to say. So this is what Water Park Tactics had to say. And I quote, want to make it clear I don't have anything against Broseph. I'm not sure why he made a full video on a tweet where I said, hey, these are some comps I think might be good, but he felt the need to, and that's his free choice. Anyone from the lab will always have a place in my heart. A lot of them reached out to me when I was going through some tough times in real life, and it really meant a lot to me. I don't hold anything against them.
Hey, look. I didn't call it drama. The only person calling it drama is Mr. Instigator JLin himself. That's all I'll say. I think that these are I think what I think should be done more is kind of a discourse on these patch notes and kind of discussion on some of these other stuff that I'm looking to do, because a lot of the top players don't do it. So more actual patch notes analysis on what will happen, I think would be good to add on top of this. And yeah, I think it's fine to comment on the stuff that I disagree with on this stuff. I don't know that if making a video is some kind of grand attack. I didn't personally attack him in any way, other than the fact that I'm pointing out where I think there's some predictions that don't have reason behind them. So I think it's good to point those out.
I really don't like calling it drama as well. And I have not responded or said anything. He instigated something. I have not posted anything about the video. It is a one-way street. So I asked Broseph as well to comment. He replied by saying, ha 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 ha. I didn't want people thinking Kha'Zix was broken. End quote. Just to preface that, I did reply to Broseph's tweet on Twitter saying that this is my response, just for some context. So Broseph posted the video on Twitter. Be careful what you believe on TFT Twitter. And I responded with Broseph be mad, Water Park clears him, and he can't abuse Kha'Zix.
Okay, this Kha'Zix thing is a meme. So just to be clear, this Kha'Zix thing is a meme.
Twitter, and then he says, and it makes
I'm not trying to hide Kha'Zix, I promise.
Or worse with the changes, and the background is just read the comments in the Timo and Alun post. So very interesting here. So now we have to go dig deeper into the posts that
I gave him a nice story to follow
on Timo and Alun. So let's just go into that. All right, so we are getting into the Umbral post. So we have here, okay, posted by Kana, one of the most dedicated people in the TFT scene, providing a lot of content and informational updates on Twitter. You know, shout out to Kana, the real MVP. But
what's the reason?
Water Park Tactics made a post saying Umbral Spat is fake. Why? You know, plus emblem is good because of lets you hit the next threshold. But then immediately,
bro, the next threshold you need to hit is 6. Like, tell me without a spat how you're hitting 6. Like what? You're sitting here. You're gonna roll it on 8. You roll 40 gold on 4-2, and you're just gonna have set. Yes, if you got set, yeah, fuck it, it's better if you have set. But like, if you don't have set, I don't know what you're doing with the slot. Like, you just can't six. You can't hit 6 Umbral. Your whole board's down 3,000 HP. Like, it's just not that good. Like, stuff saying this is bad makes it confusing on whether or not this person has actually played the comp they're making a guide about.
Or later, Robin Songs, one of the more renowned TFT players, social media influencers in the game, posted a 6 Umbral guide, and he said that, you know, Umbral +1 is very, very good, especially if you.
It also lets you. I'm reading the post. It lets you replace a bad unit you don't care about. Who the fuck's trying to play Darius? Like, if you're playing Darius to play it with Irelia, you do not want your ass playing Yon on that board. Yon is fucking worthless on that board.
Hit it, and here's how to play it. And then Kana, you know, made her own tweet saying my social media field is wild. Sometimes literally back.
I'll make a post.
Sort of touching
why
on
Umbral.
You know, these two
it has its uses, but it's sorely overrated. Oh, he has it. He has it. Okay, we can look at what I did.
Difference in opinion. So Water Park Tactics replies saying, well, LMAO, I'll make a post talking about why Umbral +1 isn't as good as it seems. It has its uses, but it's sorely overrated.
You already made the post.
Now,
The post right
Broseph
here.
replies with, maybe I'm not understanding something, but with default filters for a Loon carry vertical Umbral, the +1 appears to be a very strong item in the comp in the 6th best.
Okay, so just to be, looks like he didn't delete it. It was just on Kana's post, which I did not remember.
To augment, and 3rd best gold for 2 augment. So here we have it filtered, Umbral, 4.12, a Loon, any, not even 3-star, exclude Midnight Siphon, Yone, Silas, all gone.
Yone actually shouldn't be included. That's a filtering mistake I made. I don't know why I have Yone there. I think it might be because he said to play Yone, but Yone shouldn't be there. That's one of the first units you drop if you have the Spat.
And here we have some more data on 3-2 Umbral Crest.
It looks like the stats are pretty similar to what I found, though.
Averaging below in the 4s, which is very good, and then here as well, averaging below.
It's not about the 4s. Wait, JLin, it's not about the 4s. It's about what its average is compared to the comp average, right? So 3.83 is 3 better than 4.12. That's the important thing. It's gaining a third of a placement from one augment difference is very, very big. It's a very big deal.
The 4s, and this was early on in the set, so that is Broseph's sort of response.
That's the category of very good augments for the comp. There's the broken tier, which is 0.5 or more placements gain, and there's the very good tier, which is anything above 0.2 or 0.25.
Umbral Spat fake or not. So let's just see here. So Water Park Tactics makes a post the following day. I swear people don't understand the amount of research that goes into each guide. I'm not making these comps out of nowhere. The 6 Umbral comp was already a sleeper comp with Midnight Siphon, and I was researching it since last patch. This happened with the first post that blew up. The Yone guide without a Loon in. I got so much shit in the comment DMs because I was a moron if I didn't reroll a Loon with Yone.
This is fair. No, this is correct. I thought this was the correct So for context, he made a post about playing Heavenly Yone, which is right. I believed it. The stats clearly backed him up in that regard, so he was right there. Yeah.
Fast forward 1 week and rank 1, Bishop, for those of you that don't know, has already played the board, agreeing it was much better than the 4 Umbral variation. Where were the yappers then? Who's rerolling a Loon plus Yone now?
Just because this is an appeal to authority, so just because he was right before doesn't mean he's right now, right? So just because he was right about Heavenly Yone being better than 4 Umbral Yone with a Loon, which at least I believed at the time as well, that doesn't make him right now. This is a fallacy.
This morning, and the same thing happened to my 6 Umbral post. But I see once Robin Songs posted the same Twitter guide, all the hate comments suddenly were deleted. Maybe you'll trust that I know a thing or two and that I put a lot of work into these guys. The next time you see one, no shade at Robin Songs. He's a beast and probably knew the comp before I did. And then a further post.
Where's the defense? Where's the defense of the Spat?
Goes on to say, okay, maybe people are taking the post the wrong way, so I'll clear it up. This is not what I'm using as proof that Umbral Crest is overrated, lol. I'm saying this is in response to the people who are arguing in the last post when all they're doing is using the most basic of arguments. I'm just pointing out that if I did the same, it would literally look like this. And this post seems to be deleted, so I don't know what it is at this point. Kenobi replies, Kenobi TFT, your post about the Umbral Spat is still misleading. Spat is great. Reaching 4-6 earlier is impactful for snowballing and saving HP. 6 Umbrals without Spat requires set, so the stats are...
And also, just a side thing, isn't this how guide making should work? Someone makes a guide, you watch the guide, you put your, you add your own information, you add your own spin on it, and this is how, a lot of other games do it. For some reason, no one ever, comments or looks at other people's guides, ever. And with the rise of more guides, I think it's definitely a good thing to do. So I think this discourse is great. If people have problems with it, I'd like to hear what the issues are. Nothing against Water Park Tactics. I hope he makes more of these, and then there's more discourse about what these guys are and maybe things that are not correct. That once you know that they are correct, you can either change it or you can just know that they're not correct and use this as a baseline and use the additional information you're given to be able to play the comp better than you would if you just read one guide without any additional discourse about it.
Skewed, only people that reach 8 ahead will hit, where with Spat, everyone can. Water Park Tactics responds, as I mentioned in one of the replies, fake is a misleading word because it cannot be properly defined. That was my mistake.
Fake is a misleading word.
Not to repeat that in the future. To clarify, that means I'm not ignoring the benefits of Umbral Spat allowing you to hit 6. 2, I am instead pointing out the opportunity cost, the fact that the additional unit is not really a benefit. Brackets fake again, I guess, and lack of emblem power on the actual unit. 3, after hitting set, the value of Umbral Spat drops off a cliff unless you can get 2 more for 9. 4, Umbral +1 performs about similarly to no Umbral +1 without set. 5, this puts emphasis on the fact that it's other factors that influence your AVP rather than +1 Umbral.
He's right there. If you have a set and you do not get it with the help of having early 6 Umbral tempo, then yeah, your board ends up slightly lower cap compared to if you had something like, I don't know, Unified Resistance, for example, right? If you had Unified Resistance, it might be slightly better than the Spat. But the Spat is both still a fawn and also something that you get to place on a probably stronger unit that you get to put the Spat on. So you could put it on maybe Kane, maybe like Irelia, which is the most common person you put it on. And it's useful there because then you can play something like a 2-star Ornn or additional 2-star Annie on the board where you otherwise would not be able to.
Examples, portals. If you had a chance to hit one set or take a +1 Umbral, then it's always hitting
Umbral, Priz, or Hedge Fund. I don't know what the answer is here, but I suspect it's not Hedge Fund. Let's see, is Umbral Priz better than Hedge Fund? Yes. Where is Hedge Fund? Hedge Fund. 4.35. That's not the worst in the comp. But it's certainly not good. It's not good here, it's not good here, and it's not good here. Is it good on the patch that he said? Oh, this is on the last patch, but like it doesn't really matter. Is it good there? No. Is it good here? Not fucking really. Is it better than Hedge Fund? No, it's not. It's not better than Hedge Fund. Okay, let's see. The point he was making. So you don't know on 3-2 if you're gonna have a set or not, right? So that means you should not, on average, play for the fact that you will have a set and take Hedge Fund. I think even if you have a set, it's probably still not Hedge Fund. Let's okay. If you filter by 6 Umbral, I can see it being Hedge Fund, but like, it's just not Hedge Fund. It's just not Hedge Fund at all. Alright, let's filter this properly. 4+. Have a set. It's not Hedge Fund. Let's try 6+. Looks like it's still not Hedge Fund. Who could have guessed that? Like, okay, so here's the thing, right? When you're filtering by... So here's the actual important takeaway. And if Water Parks is watching this, here's the important takeaway. A, be careful and probably have someone else look over how you filter things, because filtering's hard. I have to ask other people to look over my filtering and compare notes because sometimes I'm wrong and it doesn't make sense. That's the only way you can get better at filtering in the stats. So have someone else look at them, and maybe perhaps change your mind when presented with good arguments on why something is inaccurate in the guides. That would make them better. I think that would be a great thing to do, and great for discourse too. So yeah.
So Umbral Priz or Hedge Fund, 9 out of 10. The Econ augment there, I believe in that case, +1. Umbral is overrated as an important factor or necessity in this comp. Executioner can...
I also think that it's not just the stats that would say this. I'm pretty sure if you played both lines, you would probably... Like, played both lines maybe 2 times, you would realize that you're supposed to take Umbral Crown in that spot and not Hedge Fund.
Responds, I appreciate you providing guides, but some comments from previous posts were valid questions. People are concerned with not hitting set more than Spat becoming useless. With Spat, this comp can also go into Invoker, but you refuse to let people...
I think it's usually not Invoker, but that's only because Legendaries are better, I think.
Now we are going to hear from Dish Soap rank 1 NA himself, or at the time he was, and his comments on Water Park Tactics guide.
Credit this top 4 to Baboom and the Twitter guide. Twitter guide. I saw a different version of this going around. I tested this game. I can honestly see it.
Does he have Exalted in this board? I can't tell.
Unsalvageable. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this was the best version. Playing a...
Oh, this is fairly normal to play. He has 4 Behemoth in.
Loon, its style is always so awkward. The fact that it looks like a lot better than how my unit games usually go is a really good sign.
Okay, wait, this is actually not what the main line ended up being. This is like... People were still pretty bad at the game at this point in the set.
I think this might be the best version of Yone, the 4 behemoth version.
This was... I'll spoil it real quick. This did not end up being the best version of Yone, just to be clear.
I've seen people playing against it on ladder, and I also saw a Twitter post about it. So I was like, fuck it, like, you might as well try it, you know? This looks pretty good. Holy shit, that game. The fuck? I need to update 50 Academy. Academy when I get done with this. Is it a little less than roll for? I mean, why are you guys questioning this? Like, I feel like this game is proof enough that this is a superior version. This swap was so fucking bad. Like, I feel like it's unquestionable this is the right version. That was like, I'm so impressed by that. I've actually played some Yone.
All right, so we have the proof here. March 26th, Water Park Tactics posts the proper Yeoman. I've seen way too many people fumble the freest Yone games, building the wrong items, and rolling for units that don't matter. 1. Default board is 4 Reaper and 4 Behemoth. Always get...
It was not bad. It was better than rolling a loon, especially in the stats. It's better than rolling a loon. It was worse than the Heavenly version, but yeah, this is not a bad board.
4 Reaper and ASAP as long as you're front.
And for the time, it was a pretty reasonable board too. But yeah, again,
Allowed.
being right in the past doesn't make you right here.
On March 26th, and we just watched the video with Dish Soap trying that variation. So yes, you know, Water Park Tactics does provide very valuable information that can be useful at the challenger level.
Yeah, agree.
And even to the best player in North America. Okay, not the best player in North America. I don't think Dish Soap, no disrespect.
Damn! That's a hot take. All right.
But I think that title is going to have to go to Setsuko. But you're in the top 3 though. I think it's Setsuko, Malala, and then Dish Soap. Right now, just because of tournament performance, ladder-wise, I would say that Dish Soap might be number 1. I think ladder-wise, Dish Soap might be number 1. Tournament performance-wise, I think Setsuko, like his whole body of work from like the past couple of sets. Yes, Malala had a very good season, but let's see if he can continue that into.
Dish Soap's had a better season this year, so I'll just say this set. I'll say that much.
You know, set 11, set 12, set 13, all of those, right? I think Setsuko is still. I still think Setsuko is the GOAT at tournaments. We do see that Dish Soap definitely did play this line that Water Park Tactics suggested. So
people emphasize first places too much. Just because Setsuko, like I think first place, 1 out of like 500 players compared to 2 out of 500 players, they're pretty close. And I think consistency is the more important thing. Dish Soap going 3rd and 2nd at 2 tournaments, I think gives them a better track record in this set than getting getting 2 lower placements, which I think were Setsuko's placements in this year.
Yeah, you know, a lot of valuable information here from one. Okay, so now we are going on to the Teemo reroll post that Broseph mentioned. So Water Park Tactics said, you don't need Lucky Paws.
Okay, he go over this.
Now, Rainplosion replies, one of the best challenger players in TFT in North America as well, and also a world's appearance in, I think, set 8 as well, or set 7. Replies, fairly certain you do in fact
set 7 finalist, 7th place.
I need Lucky Paws to play this, but I'm down for people to try it in my games. So she filters out Kobuko 3-star and Teemo star level any, and the average is 4.6, so not the best. Then Water Park Tactics responds, this is what I got. Diamond Plus is like a 3.8. Any item or level Teemo both don't dip below 4.5. I have a question. Is there a reason you said
what did he filter by?
Teemo filters that way and did 2+ item Kobuko as close to 3? Also, side question, is there a reason you prefer the tactic tools explore over meta?
What did he filter by?
Broseph TFT jumps in now.
Any level or item Teemo don't dip below 4.5. What are you talking about? Huh? Am I missing something? What do you mean don't dip below 4.5? Huh? Not Lucky Streak, Lucky Pause. What was the other one? Oh, it was Build a Blood. What? What do you mean don't dip below 4.5? What do you filter by? Diamond Plus. Any level or any item or level Teemo don't dip below 4. Oh, he has this 3-star is what he has. Yeah, he has this 3-star, which is fair enough. What's the difference here? Oh, he has Teemo filtered that way. Okay, sure. Yeah, if you filter by 3-star Kobuko, if you don't filter by 3-star Kobuko, then it's garbage. Even if you do this. Like, it's still bad. But, like, if you do 3-star Kobuko, if you presume you hit it, and you have some items, it actually looks better this patch. Yeah, it actually looks better this patch, so let's see what he has to say about it.
And says, some people who play Kobuko Teemo reroll hit slightly late or never hit and die by 4-5. These players might not have 3-item Kobuko or even 2-item Teemo because they've only received 9 components by that point in the game. You want to keep those players in the data. Water Park Tactics responds, that makes a lot of sense. I was under the presumption that you filtered out those players for comps as there were players who decided to force it from a bad spot, but I can see your... You
filter out people who force it from a bad spot? Yeah, sure, I guess. But like, so here's the problem, right? People force everything from a bad spot. People force Diana from a bad spot. Not Diana, Janna from a bad spot. They force Forecast from a bad spot. They force everything from a bad spot. You can't just filter out the bad spots for Teemo because you're not applying that level of rigor to everything else in the data.
Point.
Especially on Diamond
Good
Plus.
points. Builds can skew the data. I do think that there could be a different way to filter that out besides 3 items, because I feel like by stage 5 you should really have 3 items on both unless you really low roll. I feel like factoring low rolling too much skews the data just as much. Like if I search up 6 dual season with 2 items, the stats go down to like 5.8, which isn't an accurate representation of the comp.
I feel like by stage 5 you should have 3 items unless you really low roll. Here's the issue. Basically, any reroll comp can die before 5-1. If you hit behind tempo, or you picked it from a slightly weak spot and did not high roll, you can die before 5-1. And you should include them in the data, because everything can die by 5-1. Usually most lobbies have a player, 1 or 2 players dead before 5-1. So you can't really do that. And then this thing, which we'll watch just to see it.
What did you filter for? Broseph responds, JLin with item count 2+ is a 4.39, but that also includes the items that are 3. So I don't think meta TFT allows +2 items. I was assuming it +2 from this, but the stats are very different. Sorry, 2+ items and 4.8.
Yeah, so like the 2+ filter works, and it works well, and I think you should use it. The 2+ filter, you should be using all the time. If you're filtering for anything that you can't guarantee that you'll have all the items you need, you should be filtering by 2+, because at any point you can die, and the chance that the inclusion that you get from having 2+ is way better than the inclusion you get from having 3 items, and you're much less likely to skew the data in a way that's bad.
Broseph TFT responds with, you can literally make anything look good with those filters. This is Yasuo 3, Kindred 3 items, average 3.91. But when you filter in all the low rollers who didn't get their 2 cost 3-star and didn't make it to 5-1 by nature for having 12 items, it doesn't look so good anymore. And then he goes on to show the data with Yasuo 3-star and Kindred 2+, I believe, 4.47.
This is not Kindred 2+. This is any Kindred level. You can't filter by Kindred 2+.
0.91. Then Upset Max responds, I'm open into Teemo. Okay, so that concludes the drama today, guys. I don't have a leg in the race. Make your own assumptions, but at the end of the day, just
this
remember
is
that both
fucking
these people
wild
are
drama,
beings.
dude.
They're both trying their best. They're both trying to create content for the community and the TFT player base. So just make sure that you support them and just try to be a little bit more understanding. We can all be a little bit more understanding, a little bit more peaceful. But I mean, hey, we all get to play a game that we love.
Nah, that was fun. This is a good watch. This is a hella good watch, and I think some spark some good things to say. All right, I hope he watches this, and I hope he makes some kind of reaction or some kind of loop to this. That's what I like to see. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the video. What are the takeaways? Takeaways are, filter properly. I think we learned like at least 5 or 6 different filtering tools. Filter by 2+, include low rolls, consider not filtering by the highest level of your trait, and also read the patch notes and maybe explain a little bit or have some sense of reason behind why certain things get better or worse. I think that's the most important part, just in like critical thinking about why comps get better or worse. And I think you would have better patch predictions, and I think you would have better information to give people. So yeah. So for next, is the next thing I do, probably gonna make some constructive stuff, maybe reacting to Mort Dog's post or anything else. But yeah, if there's anything in the community that comes up, I'll try to cover it, try to have my thoughts. Hopefully you guys like this video, and I want to see the response that comes later.